In January 2022, the world lost poet, peace activist, and Vietnamese Zen Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hahn. During the past 2 years of isolation, a global pandemic, and conflict around the world, I have been comforted by the words of this man and a poem that he wrote called The Great Bell Chant, a prayer for the end of suffering. The poem begins, "May the sound of this bell penetrate deep into the cosmos. Even in the darkest spots, living beings are able to hear it clearly, so that all suffering in them cease. Understanding comes to their heart, and they transcend the path of sorrow and death." Since we met last as a Global Pulse community, our lives have been full of anxiety, uncertainty, and suffering. As my contribution to this conference, I wrote this poem. And like everything Irish, it's a little sad, a little sappy, a little hopeful, and a little happy. The poem is called The People with the Pulse. My friends, how the time has passed. It's been 2 years since we met last. President Thich Hahn and so many others have passed. Good to see you in person instead of a Zoomcast. In 2020, COVID took us out. In 21, COVID and a terrible drought. We ordered from Amazon to keep from freaking out. We wore our masks and hoped it would all pan out. COVID disrupted the whole supply chain. Booking a container, it's an awful strain. Traders learned that they didn't have much clout. And traffic managers, well, they learned how to scream and shout. So we kiss the rings of our ocean carriers. Shipping companies are the new trade barriers. The pirates are back, and they rule the high seas. And for now, they charge us whatever they please. Through droughts and floods and high inflation, supply chain issues and labor relations, we find a way to feed our nations. It's what we do. It's our vocation. We are the Global Pulse Confederation. Just when you thought we couldn't take more pain, Russia decided to go to war with Ukraine. So much suffering to feed the power of one. There is no peace at the end of a gun. The people in South Sudan and Syria suffer with the people of Yemen and Ethiopia. When will we learn? We are all connected, and no matter where we live, we are all affected. This failure of leadership leaves a blood-soaked stain, and we will all be playing the food aid game. Remember this when we squabble and fight, when our face gets hot and the argument reaches its height. Take a deep breath, hope and pray for insight, because forgiveness feels better than being miserably right. It's our job to feed the saints and the sinners, the rich, the poor, the old, and beginners. We find a way to feed our nations. It's what we do. It's our vocation. We are the Global Pulse Confederation. COVID and conflicts, we have a full plate, but CO2 levels threatened the planet's fate. Pulses are critical to a climate-smart solution. We are called to lead the food system revolution. The target is 1.5 C. If we don't, we could face calamity. We owe it to our children to be the hero, to do the hard work of achieving net zero. As I landed at the airport on the 8th of May, my third granddaughter was born on Mother's Day. The future of our children is at stake, and I want them to eat a lot of birthday cake. It's up to us to end the suffering. Pulse crops are a sustainable offering. We find a way to feed our nations. It's what we do. It's our vocation. We are the Global Pulse Confederation. So many friends, and one called Bacon, who says he's retiring and he's not faking. His passion for pulses, there's no mistaking. He leaves a legacy of a road well taken. We heal this world by making friends. And when there's conflict, we make amends. We are called to feed each other. To succeed, we must work together. We find a way to feed our nations. It's what we do. It's our vocation. We are the Global Pulse Confederation.